All right, guys, welcome to the next episode of the Next-Gen podcast. This time a little bit different. I'm missing Dax. He's off with a bit of a tummy bug. And I'm here with Jamie Mullarkey, UFC superstar. An all-round nice guy, legend. So we're going to have a little chat today about sort of why Jamie started, the things that happened along the way, and even get some little bits and pieces that you guys probably don't see if you're someone who watches the UFC, some behind-the-scenes things that you might not know. So, Jamie, we'll kick it off with the backstory. Like, what made you first want to get into MMA, and why'd you get into it?
Yeah, I got into MMA when I was in the off-season of footy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, off-season of rugby. I was like, kept getting out of shape in the off-season, so I just wanted something to do. And I was watching Fuel TV at the time, and it had the Ultimate Fighter on it. So it was just, I don't know, something about it. I was just like, I'd never wanted to fight. I never had an intention of fighting, and then I started doing it. I remember that's the one thing I always say. My first session, I threw a kid in an armbar, and I just like fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So basically, from that session, so to speak, I just never looked back really, and then I got good at it, and then I got offered to fight, and just got sort of sucked into the sport.
And how long ago was that when you first sort of got into it? Just like roughly what?
12 years ago now?
12 years, okay. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
So
13 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was 14, I started training.
Yeah, cool. And do you remember your first fight?
Yeah, like it was yesterday.
Yeah. What were some of the feelings and stuff walking in?
Like, get me home.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here. It was scary, but like, the best feeling ever. The best feeling ever afterwards. And that's win or lose as well. It's honestly like just such a cool experience and a cool feeling to go out there and test yourself against someone who's trained hard and been doing the same thing. So
I can imagine, like, especially you probably still get it now, but there'd be so many nerves, and like you'd be overthinking things and wondering, is this guy better than me, or what's he done in his camp? Or I can imagine that would be more amplified if you haven't done it before, like your first fight.
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
And the scary thing about amateurs is you could fight a guy that's having his first fight, that's been training for like, I don't know, 6 months.
Yep.
And then you could have just a beast who's like trained his whole life but just never fought. So it's kind of a bit like, you got to kind of do your research on who you match, especially us now having so many young amateurs coming through our gym.
Yep.
You just, it's like something that you got to be wary of, because you could be throwing them in with a fucking
an
killer.
Absolute animal. Yeah. Did you win your first fight?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's good. I mean, fast forward, 10 years-ish, roughly, and you get an offer to fight in the UFC. Obviously, anyone who's into mixed martial arts or anything, that's the pinnacle. Yeah. You want to be in the UFC.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, I don't know how does it go, do you get a phone call, or how does it happen? How do you initially get that, hey, Jamie, we want you in the UFC?
Yeah, I got a phone call from Ross, from my coach. And I was on the job site. I was working up in Newcastle. I was on the plumbing site, and I just walked out and dropped my tool bag and just went, holy shit! I'm fighting in Melbourne in like 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like insane.
Yeah.
Insane sort of feeling.
And is it Ross that sort of lines these fights up, or did the UFC reach out to Ross, or how does that all work? Did you have to send in like a tape or?
Yeah. Well, I was sort of hassling the UFC for a while in my end of my career, and then just like it's like anything, man. Like, I think it's like good luck thrown on top of a lot of hard work. And then by where I was in my career, and then just luck of opportunity, because there was another fighter making his debut from New Zealand, Brad Riddell, and then they needed an opponent for him, and it was on home soil, so they just reached out to me last minute, and I was like, yep, I'm in there.
Man.
So, yeah.
And then obviously that first time stepping in, it would have been so different to your amateur fights because you go in, you get the cool UFC tracksuit.
Yeah.
You get, what comes along with it, like.
Yeah. Oh, just the whole fight week sort of experience was pretty crazy. One thing that I've remembered, like, is it because it all happened so fast. I feel like I didn't soak it in as well as I should have been, but it was just insane because I was just not used to that level of even being treated like a professional athlete. Like, I wasn't even training as a full-time athlete at the time.
Yeah.
So, it was just insane going into that kind of a feel, and then walking into that fucking stadium, man, into Marvel Stadium was just like, I get like goosebumps even just thinking about it. It was just crazy step up.
That's cool, man. And so for people that don't know, right? So say your fight's it would have been on Saturday or Sunday? Sunday, yeah. So say it's on the Sunday. What happens in kind of those last few days from when you get to sort of your hotel? Is there some sort of check-in process? What's the weigh-in like? What are some things that people like that don't have a clue because all they see is maybe the weigh-in on TV?
Yeah.
What are some of the processes that have to come in to get you, obviously, into the octagon for that main fight?
Yeah, we'll usually check in at the start of fight week, so all fighters are checked into their hotel, yada yada, and then it's basically like you go through media days, so we just get interviewed and do the stuff that we kind of like you don't really feel like doing on fight week, but even doing that stuff, like, it's kind of like ramps you up and gets you excited. I find anyway, because you're cutting weight, you're low on calories.
You don't want to deal with anyone.
Yeah, you don't really want to do that kind of stuff, but even just going to a media day can just be fun because it's something to do, you know.
It would be all new and exciting for you.
Yeah,
anyway.
for sure. So I'm even still feeling like that, you know. It's just still new to me. I'm getting more comfortable with it, but there's those kinds of things, and then just making weight. So big thing for fighters, and what all fighters know about is making weight, and we weigh in. Usually it's 24 hours before a fight. So yeah, that's just a part of the process that no one really likes, but we all just have to suck it up and cut the weight. But that's usually done in the last 24 hours up till until we weigh in. That's when we're cutting weight.
Okay.
So that just involves you've dieted down, gotten to within a range where you think you can cut. Say it's going to be about 4 kilos usually for me, about 4 kilos, and then just getting in the sweatsuits, getting in saunas, baths. There's heaps of different ways you can do it, but that's just one of the processes of being a fighter, just making weight, and then once you weigh in, you're eating food and happy again.
Yeah, so once you weigh in, you can rehydrate.
Yeah, that's the whole point of doing the 24-hour weighing, because if you weigh in the same day as you fight, you're obviously not going to be able to cut weight and then expect yourself to be able to perform. But that's I think they've actually made it now 36-hour weigh-ins, so it gives you even more time. And that's great, because the last thing you want to do is cut weight and then wait around all day to weigh in, and it's just makes the process longer. So
then you make weight, and then the next day is the fight.
The next day is the fight.
Fight day, what happens from like when you wake up to when you're after the fight?
Everyone's different. I like to personally, I like to have a little sweat out in the morning, just break a sweat, because I don't like my first bit of movement to be warming up for the fight, because you've just eaten a lot of food, or like you've fueled your body up again after a weight cut. So I like to just wake up in the morning and have a brekkie, good solid brekkie, and then have a little sweat out, and then usually I'll just for the rest of the day just chill, man. Like my body wants to sleep, because it's just. It's like it's almost preparing for war as well. Like it's exhausted, and it's like you've just put so much food into your body. You got to process all that, which obviously takes energy. But yeah, just me. I'm just like have that little sweat out in the morning and then just hang out, man. Listen to music, talk to family.
Yep.
I like just talking to my family, my real close ones in my circle, and then I just flip the switch when I'm kind of like at the arena.
Yeah. And then obviously you get there, you warm up, then obviously the music comes on, you walk out, and then from there it'd probably just go like that, right?
Yeah, and because I've had a fair few pro fights now, and I'm even getting more used to the UFC level now. It's just like another day. Like it's not really that different to me, and even our team, like we're still cracking jokes and mucking around on the way to the at the fights, at the venue. We're just having fun really and just enjoying the process. I think that's an important part, just to like relax and enjoy every bit of it. Because you're in there living, like I'm living my dream.
Well, that's it, man. It's like anything. You want to make sure you're stopping to smell the flowers on the way, because it is only going to be a short period of time, especially in something as violent as MMA, mixed martial arts. You want to make sure you're soaking up every experience and enjoying it, and having stories saved in your memory for
that like I said, the first week that I had experienced the UFC fight week, I just felt like I didn't, because it was also
it would have been all the bright lights and everything would have been exciting and
bit crazy, but I made a note of that for the next few times. I was like, just fucking soak it in, enjoy it, you know?
Yeah, that's cool, man. And then so say when you're in there and fighting, there's so much, I can imagine there's so much noise from the crowd, and then your coach is trying to yell at you. Because you hear it on TV a little bit, the coach is talking. Can you hear much of that, or is it pretty hard?
It depends where you're fighting. I've fought in the Apex now, which is a small crowd. Which the UFC started doing that through COVID. And I can hear like literally everything.
That's that one. You can see it's just like a little self-made sort of, maybe like 3 or 4 rows of seats. Yeah.
It's a tiny crowd. Which is sort of like brings me back to the days of just fighting at local shows. Because it's just a small, like kind of intimate crowd. So I can hear everything my coach is saying there. And then obviously in the big shows, it's a little bit more muffled out, you know.
What's do you reckon's been your biggest show so far that you fought in?
Biggest crowd attendance was my debut. Funnily enough, that's the biggest crowd attendance in UFC history. So
wow,
at the Marvel Stadium. So
really cool.
Talk about a fucking debut.
No pressure.
Yeah, but that was sick because like that energy from the crowd being such a big stadium, and that like gave us so much energy in the fight. And we ended up getting fight of the night, me and Brad. And I love fighting in front of a massive crowd.
It would be cool. It'd definitely level you up a bit.
100%. 100%.
Especially because you are that guy that isn't scared to walk forward and have a crack, and like the crowd loves that as well. They don't want to see people wrestling. They don't want to see people just like in a clinch. They want to see people going at it, and I think that suits you as well. And
exactly.
Maybe it's got you in trouble a couple of times.
For sure.
So how many years have you been in the UFC now? Is it 3 or 4?
3 years now.
Yeah, 3 years now. What's been your best moment, and what's been your hardest moment that you've had to overcome, or something like that?
Probably I'd go to best moment being my first win. That was just like kind of a relief in my mind, because I had my first 2 fights as losses. Even though, like, I'll go on to that, being my worst moment was my second fight, because I felt like I got robbed.
Mm-hmm.
But, worked your whole career to get here, and I finally got here, and then my first 2 fights with the company, I come off with a loss, and it does some, like, you just do some head miles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just like, fuck, do I belong here? You just got to, put your head down and prove to yourself that you can. So for sure, when I got my first win, which was a sweet way to do it as well, like a 45-second knockout in the first round, and that was like just the best moment so far, I think. And then my hardest moment was my second fight. I just got the bad end of a bad decision. I got the stiff end, so I felt like I won the fight, and the two judges gave it to him, and I was gutted. Yeah.
I guess it's hard. I mean, it can go either way. Like with anyone, if they have a couple of losses or they don't get a couple of things go their way, you can either sort of step back and accept it, or you can level up, which is what you did.
Yeah.
And now you're on an absolute tear through the UFC, where you could have easily let those 2 losses go to your head.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like it's that, and I think that that's where there's the most growth, right?
Yep.
Like
100%.
Through adversity, that's where we find out what we're really made of.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
I think that's for anything. Obviously, any sport, business, whatever. You're always going to go through shit. It's whether you got enough ticker to bounce through it and come out the other side.
100%.
Yeah. How did you and Ross meet? So Ross Pearson is your coach.
Yeah. He's finally started letting me call him his coach.
Yeah.
He's just a through and through fighter himself. So yeah, like he come out when he was in the heart of his career. He met his now wife, Christy, and I got the chance to go out and train with him at a gym out at Woy, one of the gyms that we were kind of affiliated with, and I met him a few times, like on and off, because he'd obviously be traveling around doing his thing, fighting all over the world, and then every time he come back to Australia, we just kept linking up and training, and then he decided to move out here and start his own gym here, and like straight away I was like straight in there, you know, and like it was actually kind of perfect timing in a sense, because when he came out, my coach Noah Magnus, who'd like carried me through my first,
he was kind of the original up here.
He was like he's a don, and he carried me through my whole pro career. So he would like laid the foundations, him and Jason Siebert for my career, and when he was moving up north, so he was moving away, and as he moved away, Ross came in, so it was kind of just meant to be. And then I jumped on the Central Coast MMA team, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Things that you probably don't see on TV. So post fight, does everyone have to go to hospital, or what happens after that? Because I'm sure a lot of people watch UFC and go, all right, fight's over, they just go home.
Yeah.
What sort of happens after that? Is it like everyone has to go and get checked out, or depending on how bad you are, or?
It depends how bad you are.
Yeah.
I haven't had to every time, but most of the time, you will, because like obviously fighting at this level, you're probably gonna come out with a few scaves. But like the last time I went to the hospital straight away. My opponent was at the hospital, so that was pretty funny. We were like at the
next to each other.
Yeah. Me and Michael were at the hospital having a laugh and having a chat, and it was crazy. Like there was so many fighters in there, and then there was fucking people getting ran in from emergencies, like stab victims, and that was pretty wild. But yeah, that's pretty much what happens afterwards. You get brought straight into a doctor's room, so they assess you.
Yep.
And then if they think that you need further looking at, you'll get straight in an ambulance and straight to the hospital.
Yeah, right.
And like the treatment is just amazing from the UFC. You know, like you're just straight in good hands. You're not like at a waiting room waiting to get in or anything like that.
VIP service.
It's just that's part of the why they are the biggest fight company in the world.
Yeah. Like, what are some of the horror stories you've heard of, like, post-fight people have gone to hospital and they've had just crazy injuries that you probably, because in the octagon they'd be hiding them, you know, and then like I've seen footage of, you know, Conor McGregor coming out on crutches, can barely walk from leg kicks and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas in the octagon they don't show it. Obviously the adrenaline's in and you're just, you know, surviving.
Yeah.
Have you heard any like hectic ones? Like, how the hell didn't that get picked up in the octagon?
No, the one that comes to mind was did you ever see John Jones when his like bone was out of his toe? So
I'll have to find the
his
footage.
toe was on a full right angle. It was completely like snapped and the bones sticking out of his skin. and he's there with Joe Rogan doing the interview, and he didn't even know yet.
Oh.
And he's there talking, and he looks down, and he's on the mic, and he just goes, "Oh my god, my toe!" And then just like Joe just goes, "Oh, someone bring in a stool for him, bring in a stool." But nah, there's like, you know, as you said, there's some crazy ones. Like the worst ones that I see, and one of my fears is snapping my shin bone.
Oh, bro, that last when McGregor did it, I was just like,
yeah, and it's been happening like a bit more and more lately. Even on the local scene, I've seen it happen a couple of times just recently with guys that we know, and it's just horrible.
It looks so horrible,
It's
like
horrible.
sickly.
Yeah, it can be career ending, like, because depending on your age, where you're at in your life. If you fucking snap your shin in half, man, you're out for a year. That's a big comeback, a big recovery.
And then in the back of your head, you're always worrying, is it strong enough? Or you've got to worry about that.
Like one of my training partners, Rick Alchin, he snapped his leg in New Zealand, like 10 seconds into the fight. So that's probably one of my biggest fears. And it's just a reminder, man, that it's such a crazy sport. Yeah, like it really is.
And you know the funny thing, like when you watch UFC with people that don't kind of watch it regularly or respect or whatever, they go, "Oh, I wonder if those kicks would hurt." You're like, man, let's bring Jamie in and let him do it to you, and you see if it hurts. They just got no respect for the leg kick.
Just exactly like something like, he was just kicking him in the leg. He probably is not walking properly tomorrow. You know. Yeah,
the old leg kick gets no respect.
Oh, mate, wait till you cop one. You'll probably have a bit of respect for
it. You know what? Actually, Corey out the front had no respect for it, so maybe we can get one on footage.
Poor Corey.
So from here, man, what's the next step? What's the goals? What's something you want to achieve? Where do you go from here?
Yeah, well, I'm looking straight into that top 15, man. That's where I've two guys that I've lost to, the only two guys I've lost to in the UFC, they're sitting in that top 15. So I'm right there, and that's where I need to be. And I think next year you're gonna see my name in that top 15 and working towards getting a title shot.
Epic. And then for those of you who don't know, through NXT-GEN, we actually sponsor Jamie, look after him with all his supplements, apparel, things like that. So what are some basic supplements that you get off us, and why do you use them?
I use the protein, whey protein.
Yep.
And the creatine are my number one.
Yep.
They're my number one go-tos. Just for obviously the muscle repair. I need it every single day.
Would.
You know.
Yeah.
And I realized that when I first started training like full time, because I never was massive on my supplements.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just didn't take them religiously. But now I need them. So them two, and I love the carb slam, the
carbs,
the carb powder that you guys have, because we like chew through so much so many calories and so many carbs. It's just a quick way of getting it back into your system.
Definitely.
In between, like say 2 sessions back to back, I'll just have a protein shake with some carb powder in it. Man, and then there's another few. I love the magic mushies too.
The tropics. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah,
they just make me feel good.
Yeah, good.
Switched on.
Good. Yeah. No, perfect, man. Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be stoked to see the other side of the UFC and your journey and what's happened. Like, obviously, growing up on the Central Coast, it is quite a small community, and we love to get behind our locals and see them do good things. So, wish you nothing but the best, my friend.
Thank you, my man.
Thanks for coming on.
Cheers. Legend.
Let's go get that leg kick off Corey.